Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. That's been expected and I've been talking about this for a month already. Bakhmut is done. And if you have even the NATO chief saying Bakhmut may be falling soon or may fall soon, that tells me it's already dead, face down in the water, floating downstream. That's how it is right now, Bakhmut. Dead and gone. How do you figure things out? By understanding how the system works, how the game is. And this is the way it is. We have two countries at war, and these two countries obviously will lie about what's going on over there. So you have to figure things out, knowing what the psychology is, because we are here, the customers, we, the public. We are the customers who are supposed to be informed, okay? Given the opinion, change the opinion by these weasels. So they will start giving you little pieces of information, and once you know how the game works, it always works the same, because people will not even bother to figure it out. It's not complicated. But hey, let's read this little article here, and I'm going to talk about how in the hell we can figure things out with these weasels. So this article comes from Bloomberg, just came out now. That's why I'm like, oh, let's see. Ukraine latest. NATO chief warns Bakhmut may fall soon. And we have here NATO chief. All right, Stoltenberg. All right, what is this? It just jumps like crazy. So this is from March 8, 2023. And it says NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg said the possible fall of Bakhmut, and I'm quoting, in the coming days would not indicate a turning point in Russia's war against Ukraine. Again, that's another thing to know, that it is so. Because he's not going to say, yes, the Russians are winning. You haven't heard that yet coming from the good countries, the free countries, the great countries, or their free mass media as well. We must continue to provide support to Ukraine, end quote, Stoltenberg said before a meeting with European Union defense ministers in Sweden. Alexander Skirsky, the commander in charge of Ukraine's ground forces, made a second visit. A second visit, probably two Ukrainian positions near Bakhmut this week. He couldn't get in, I'm guessing. Defense Minister Oleksiy Reznikov, meanwhile, said a draft EU proposed to use 1 billion euros, which is $1.1 billion, to buy shells won't be enough, adding his country needs about 4 times as such. Yeah, send him. Key developments. EU urges faster joint purchase of artillery shells. Anyway, let's go to, this is other things unrelated to Bakhmut, so I'm not going to read them. You're going to bear seeing my face now. So what's going on here? Both sides are lying, obviously. They minimize their losses and they maximize their successes, achievements. When they start cracking a hint that things might not go as expected, but they're great, you know the thing is way worse than they tell you. That's a sign. Every time when you see these kind of things, when you hear now, if you look at how this propaganda worked since 24th of, at least from the 24th of February 2022, it worked. Ukraine will win, the Russians are bad, and they will lose. And everything they did, supposedly, it was wrong. Even though if you looked on the map, the Russians advanced. All right, they say, well, the Russians temporarily advanced, but we're going to win, we're going to push them back, and blah, blah, blah. And then it was all this. Russians are bad, Russians are drunks, Russians are, insubordinate, Russians are war criminals, Russians have rusty equipment, Russians are not trained, Russians are going to fight with shovels. All this BS was to make them look like they're going to lose. They're not, it's temporarily. They're going to lose. But temporarily, not temporarily, they kept winning, or at least on the map, they were not losing. It was only one. Remember, only one. I'm discarding the Kiev thing, when the Russians said, we'll go back, we're going to see what's going on. I'm going to discuss it in a different video. I'm going to discuss the only counteroffensive, really successful counteroffensive that Ukrainians had was before winter, that one in September, I think it was, when they advanced and they went back to the, how do you call it, Kherson and Kharkiv oblasts, and they stopped at the Dnieper River on the south. Anyway, so that was the only successes that Ukraine had, and sending drones here and there. On the other hand, during the winter, the front was like static for about 6 months. Nothing really happened. So now again, Bakhmut. No, Bakhmut doesn't have any importance when you're losing. When you're winning, yes, it was very strategically important. This Bakhmut is already encircled, according to the Russians, which again, they exaggerate their successes. They say 90-some%, it's only one little dirt road where the Ukrainians are just, warming their way up about between 5 and 10 people, groups, they just escape because we shelled out of them. All right, well, that's what you say. The problem is this guy, Serhiy Skaparitsky, he doesn't go into Bakhmut anymore. A few days ago, the Ukrainians showed some pictures of the general showing up in Bakhmut, saying he's in Bakhmut. I don't think he was in Bakhmut. I tell you why. The pictures were all inside a room, right? I can get him in my basement, and I tell him he's in Yokohama, Japan. Who would know? Nobody. In a dark room with lights on. You don't even know if it's day or night. You know what I mean? Again, but they said he comes over there. I have no evidence, just believe their word. On the other hand, when you had Prigozhin, the Wagner group, mercenary killer, whatever, taking a picture near Bakhmut and claiming, yeah, we are in Bakhmut, we're winning, everybody said, well, he's not in Bakhmut. He's about 2 miles away from Bakhmut. So he's lying. He's outside, all right? And they showed you the satellite pictures to corroborate the picture with the reality and blah, blah. So what? He didn't say he was in the center of Bakhmut, and anyway, he was outside. The other guys were all inside. So this is how the propaganda works. So when you start hearing cracks, first is Ukraine media and the good, perfect Western media, okay, which backs these guys up. These guys, the Ukrainians, will be the last ones to confirm a loss. The Western mass media will start saying mildly something, and at the end will say the Russians are losing. Like what was his name? Can't remember his name right now. It was not Kato. Anyway, there were two brothers, and I can remember in the Roman Empire. They were every time they were ending their speech, one of in particular said, "Carthage must be defeated." That was his. I can't remember his name. I knew his name, but I don't know it right now. Anyway, he came in front of the Senate, and whenever he had a speech, the Carthage was the arch enemy of Rome at one point, and eventually Rome destroyed it and razed it and put salt on it so nothing would grow back. So that's how much they hated Carthage, which is in the northern Africa's continent, across the Atlantic. So anyway, I can't remember his name, but anyway, the same here. Every time you see an article, at the end of the article, this guy say, and Ukraine is winning, Russia is losing. That's the last part that has to stick in your mind. The last paragraph is always like that, regardless of whatever they reported. So then if you have now these guys even saying that might fall, that was not spoken about, I don't know, 2 days ago, 3 days ago, 4 days ago. On the other hand, it was Zelensky and Zaluzny. Now they don't know who they should blame responsibility for the Ukrainian army encircled in Bakhmut. So there was a little scuffle, and it's still ongoing, between these two guys, the civilian versus the military, the officer. Who could be blamed for those Ukrainians trapped over there? Because they will be trapped over there. Someone should have issued an order, retreat. You remember they started with, we're going to have a fighting retreat. We're going to have possibly withdrawal, not retreat, withdrawal. It's a difference somehow. Anyway, fighting withdrawal, all kind of euphemisms to make it milder, not to scare the idiots. Oh, we're losing? Well, you said we're winning, but they don't remember that because they're just propagandized every 3 minutes with the same bullshit because that's their attention span, 3 minutes. So they have to, 3 minutes, after 3 minutes, they have to give them information. And sometimes they give you something or give us something, and then you don't hear about it. Why? They hope we forgot about it. But that's the most important thing. But the ones that they want to stick in our brains, they repeat it and repeat it and repeat it and say, what are you talking about? Come on. So yeah, if Stoltenberg, this weasel from NATO, came out and said that may fall in the following days and so on, I think it's already done. because these guys are giving information, as I said, may fall. I think it's already done. The problem right now is how many prisoners are going to be coming out, because that's how they say. And this is going to be probably the next article when they're going to be encircled. Prisoners will fight a little bit and then say, well, you know what? They will not, they will come out. That's why this is the euphemism. Right? They will come out. They will not be taken prisoners. They will come out because they fulfilled the tasks. So the mission was accomplished. Losing Bakhmut, getting encircled and taken as a prisoner that's what they did in Mariupol. You remember the Azovstal? When those guys stayed over there, they waited for the Americans and the NATO helicopters to pick them up, and nobody dared to come over there, obviously, for obvious reasons. After about a month and a half, they came out. That's how they reported. They didn't say they surrendered. It was never surrendered. They came out, and they were not taken prisoners. They came out and they went to Russia. You know, they were invited. Please come and visit Russia. Euphemism that you can laugh your butt. It was not they were taking prisoners. It was not they were taking from here in Russia and put over there in the colonies or whatever, in interrogation centers, which you should do. It's just, when I talk interrogation, that's a different kind of interview. Okay, let's put it this way. It doesn't have to be with water and shit, all right? I'm not talking about that kind of... anyway, so like... CIA waterboarding, and not only, but hey, we can talk about that because CIA is good, KGB is bad, but they do the same thing. They're in the same job. Like this is a truck driver for company A, and this is another truck driver for company B, and they compete. But no, they don't use the same methods. They're not going to drive the same truck, the same roads, the same shift, whatever. No. The same maps. No, because these are good, because we are good. Don't you feel better? All right, I do already. My tail is just doing like this behind. You can't see it. So anyway, this is the situation here with these weasels, and Bakhmut is gone. Has been gone, I think, for a month. Why? I said this on the 1st of February. Bakhmut is gone because of the little signs they started giving. When you see the first crack, that means the crack is like this big already. Okay, and then it means you can't stop it. Oh, well, remember, we're going to send the elite troops, the Ukrainian elite troops. We're going to go to Bakhmut. We're going to bring more weapons over there. We're going to do a counteroffensive. All this is make-believe for that strata of the society that was bombarded with all this kind of propaganda. Why? Because this is like a drug. You can live your life a little bit after it. Oh, we're winning. You can find out. You will discard the other side's opinion on this. We're winning. That's all I want to know. But anyway, this is like the opium of the people, as Karl Marx, that guy, said about religion. Religion is the opium of the people. Because he argued, people go over there in the churches and, they have their exaltation over there and they feel good about themselves. They pray, they have the community and all that. That's great. When they come over there, they can face another week of garbage, of reality, and then go back Sunday and again do all that, and then that's the opium that you take, or whatever you inject it, however you want to take it, your choice. So the same here. These people need this every day. We all need it. Every day we need this opium that will tell us, oh, we're winning. Oh yeah, man, let's go to work hard. We're winning, John. I know, man, yeah. Cheers. Boom. That's how it is, because we all act the same. We are humans. We react to these kind of things. We need certain assurances. We need some hope. If you lose hope, then you start, snorting, drinking, injecting, and then dying. Basically, we all die, but you die faster like that. All right, Stoltenberg, we knew that. Thank you very much. Smack. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just. He doesn't deserve a real smack. He deserves a female dog smack.